Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and we are just about 24 hours removed from a massive, over close to $400 million verdict against former President Donald Trump and his sons. And, well, there are problems with it. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. There are a lot of problems, in my opinion, and in the opinion of several legal experts, with the verdict by Judge Engoron against Donald Trump in the Letitia James brought case for fraud in New York. Now, nobody's saying that he didn't inflate the value of his properties and deflate them for tax purposes. It's a common business practice. They're making it sound like it's some rare thing that only Trump. It's a very common business practice. Everybody knows about it. And it's never been used in New York in quite this way without a victim coming forward saying, I was victimized by this. But is that really the reason for this case? Or is the reason for this case Letitia James wants to be governor of New York? I'll let you decide that. I know what I think. Jonathan Turley, who's actually a pretty liberal guy, he was on Fox News and he tore this decision to shreds. He said, look, this is beyond the pale of what could be expected. And I believe, and I think he believes, that Trump will have a successful appeal of this because it's so outrageous. I want you to hear what he has to say, and then I'd like you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, it really helps us out. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
Being overturned on appeal, Jonathan.
Well, this court really proved Oscar Wilde's rule that the only way to be rid of temptation is to yield to it. Because the court has done everything short of ordering that Trump be thrown into a wood chipper. I mean, he's imposed almost the maximum amount that James requested. He's barring him from doing business in a city where he's an iconic business figure, barring him from getting loans. That last part is particularly ironic because the banks not only said they were not victims and did not complain about the alleged fraud, but they said they wanted to do more business with Trump, that they described him as a whale client. And so this is all being done essentially in their name as victims, even though no one lost any money. None of us could find a case like this. And yet the first one, you have this fortune that is being demanded by the court to be turned over. I think there are real problems here. I think that this is going to have the same impact on some appellate judges. There have to be some limits, including constitutional limits, on the size of penalties. This is confiscatory, and in my view, just excessive. So I think there's a major appeal, obviously, that's going to come. I was hoping that the court would defy its critics and show a more moderate response, to show that, yes, there were assets that were undervalued and overvalued, but to impose a more reasonable fine. Many of us believed that there were cases of valuation problems, but those are ubiquitous in this field of real estate. This is extremely common for businesses to undervalue property to try to lower tax costs and to overvalue in securing loans. Often you look at the victims themselves to see if those practices produced the type of injury that warrants this relatively rare action. And the victims are in court saying, we're not victims. That is, we didn't really take these numbers on their face.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask you, Jonathan, is how do they arrive at this number? I'm going through some of the casework here, and Eric Sean's going to read some of it to us that's relevant for people to help understand. But I'm not sure how you arrive at these damages when you don't have anyone who's claiming that they were financially damaged.
Yeah, the court seems to have compounded the highest figures in most areas of how much could have been claimed and might have impacted loans or taxes, and then imposed those costs. The New York law is an odd one. because it does not require that anyone actually lose money. And so James was able to come in here with this figure, and she kept on going up. And of course, that pleased a lot of people in New York. And the question, I think, is whether at some point this shocks the conscience. You know, you have Bragg, who is prosecuting the president in a case that many of us view as just a raw political exercise. You have James, who promised to bag this president for some undefined reason when she ran for office. And now you have this confiscatory, extreme and abusive penalty. At some point, New Yorkers have to wonder, is this really what we want from a legal system? It is raw and it's political. I am not saying that there was not a basis to impose a fine, but when you're imposing fines larger than the budget of some countries, you really have to wonder whether you've allowed your impulse to run away with your judgment.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Ari, your thoughts on the fact that the family has been